Time to check in. It is Thursday. It's a Techie Thursday, so time to check in with Dr. Computer. Alex Newman. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, Jerry. How's my audio? Is it too loud again, or just
No, no,
okay?
you're not too bad. Just
Okay.
the picture's the problem.
Yes, we definitely have a face for radio.
Well, you do TV.
Yeah, but there's a lot of After Effects and
Oh, okay, yeah,
CGI.
yes. So, how you been last week?
Well, pretty busy, fortunately. Lots and lots to do, to see, and to experience with new hardware launches all over the place. Lots of work as well. So it's been an interesting, couple of days since last we talked.
And of course, I guess the big one for this week was that Apple came out and announced new MacBooks.
That's correct. Not only new MacBooks, but they also came out with new AirPods, new colors for the HomePod Mini, and they talked about their new processors, the M1 Pro and the M1 Max, which are pretty much them doubling down on their new architecture, which is going to make for some interesting developments going forward, not only for them, but what it means to the entire industry, in the sense that this tight integration, while it makes it so that hobbyists and people who like to expand and build upon their computers have a harder time making these computers have more memory or more processor or whatever. It does open the door to buying cheaper machines that not only perform a lot better right out of the box, but also are a little bit more future proof, in the sense that this tight integration makes them so much faster than previous models that it makes it a sound investment to buy one of these machines to use for a couple of years, as opposed to what usually happens with the phones, where everybody's just trying to buy the latest one every single year, which I think is a bit of a waste. But yeah, I mean, they're going to have a pretty interesting lineup for the holiday season, now that they have new iPhones, new Apple Watches, new Macs, new AirPods, and a whole bunch of other new products.
Are they not suffering at all from the chip shortages that are going around?
Oh, definitely. I'm sure they are. That being said, a lot of the important chips on their machines are made to their specifications by custom fabrication facilities. So they kind of have this covered. Of course, they would probably be able to ship more of these if it weren't for a lot of other chip shortages around, because, I mean, not the whole computer is made by Apple. A whole bunch of other chips are made by others. But I'm sure they've secured enough of these to, as every year, make a killing and, sell a lot of these boxes to people.
And I mean, the thing is, now, one thing which apparently they've changed on a number of their pieces of equipment, including apparently the laptop. This is what they call a MAGA charger.
MagSafe. It's
Something like
MagSafe.
that.
Yeah, MAGA is kind of anti-technology. MagSafe is a tried and true technology that they kind of got rid of for a few years, which is basically a magnetized tip on the charger that lets you connect it and disconnect it pretty easily. They kind of came back with something like that by naming their magnetic wireless charger for the iPhone MagSafe. But the tried and true MagSafe connector is the one that was present on previous MacBook Pros, that allowed you to, tug on the cable and let it loose, so that the whole laptop wouldn't drop to the floor if somebody tripped over the cable or anything like that. So they've come back with this. Of course, if you do have a previous MacBook charger or any other USB powered delivery compatible charger, it'll still charge in any of the other three Thunderbolt 4 ports that the computer has. So if you have like a docking station or something like that in your existing setup, you can still use it without any issues. But if you're traveling around, the MagSafe connector is nice because A, it's easier to just connect and disconnect, and B, it doesn't take up one of those valuable Thunderbolt 4 ports that also doubles as USB-C, or with a dongle with pretty much any other connector. So that's interesting. One other thing that they did bring back that I'm really grateful for if I ever buy one of these machines, I'm not planning on to right now because it's not in the stars, but they brought back the SD card reader, which is great if you're taking pictures or moving information from one device to the other.
Gosh, don't tell me they're starting to conform.
Yeah, they're actually starting to walk back on some of their previous things that they took out. And the HDMI port, which makes it a lot easier to just connect to any monitor or any TV or projector or anything without having to carry an additional dongle around. So I think that's pretty interesting. They kept the analog audio jack, so you can still hook up your headset to it. So that's a welcome bit of news for anybody who's got a wired headset. If they do,
this is an interesting thing, because I came across this week working on a system whereby working with a mixer, and we wanted to use the laptop. They've really screwed it up, haven't they, by making it a combined slot. You are now no longer able to segregate the microphone from the headset.
You are, as long as you use the dongle. There's a small cable. I have about 3 of them. If you need one, I'll be glad to take one next week and see you in person.
It splits it into 2?
To 2, but one is microphone and one is headphone. Not the usual splitter that you find lying around that just splits it to 2 headphones.
No. That's what I'm saying. One, it splits the microphone. Okay. Well, that's useful, because that is something I needed to know, because I was finding it really annoying that I couldn't have in and out as a separate entity because of the universal plug. Okay, good. Yeah, well, that's good news.
And the great thing about that plug is that it also works with your existing phones that do have an analog jack, or with a digital to analog dongle. So you can daisy chain your dongles one to the other, and have an actual headphone jack and a microphone jack. You can also use a USB adapter that has both connectors, but that kind of defeats the whole purpose. But it's perfectly available. In fact, I used to do that when I used to have an iPhone. I had a Lightning to USB and then USB to both microphone and headphone. It was kind of a hassle, but I made it work. That's when they dropped the analog connector. I think it was the 6 Plus or the 7. When they drop that. So yeah, it's available, and most work.
Okay. Yeah, because another one of the other useful cables I have being in this business is I have an XLR to mini jack cable, which means you can use an XLR mic, which is nice as well.
In fact, I have an XLR in my audio stuff drawer. That's a headset jack to XLR plus headphone jack. So you can use a professional set of headphones and an XLR mic on either one of these laptops or on your phone.
How cool is that?
Oh yeah, very. I got that from the now defunct Fry's Electronics in Las Vegas about 10 years ago. Yeah, it's a shame that store had to go away. I mean, it was kind of a mecca. I used to travel a lot to Vegas for CES, and it was kind of a pilgrimage point. You went there and you looked at everything.
Remember and all Fry's? Yeah.
Yes, it was. It was a sight to see. I mean, just to give some of our audience members who might have not gone to a Fry's Electronics, it's like the bathroom in the place is the size of Multimax. It's just enormous. The cafeteria is the size of like an audio photo. So it's just huge. And you find everything from like vacuum tubes to the latest quantum dot LEDs.
Are they still going?
No. They actually went broke at the beginning of the pandemic, unfortunately, and they had to close all the stores.
I mean, it's a little bit what I could imagine our friends here at was a UTech could be like if they would. Why haven't they gone to a better store? Why haven't they got a proper store where you can go in and you can touchy-feely and buy things, as opposed to this really pain in the butt store, which is in Tumbo Muerto, which I detest. Firstly, there's no parking. And secondly, the way they do things is, for somebody which is a tech store, the system is the sort of somewhat antiquated.
I would call it the low-end auto parts store model. You know, the low-end auto parts stores that are in Rio Bajo and everything else, where you go to someone, you ask for something, they give you a little slip of paper, and then you go somewhere else, and then you pay for it, and then you go somewhere else with another little slip of paper, and then they hand you the part or whatever. I think it's just economic inertia. They're making enough money to get by, and they're fine with that.
The thing is, I just get the impression that they could be the greatest thing since sliced bread in Panama, because they've got everything we need.
Yeah.
But it's just such a pain in the butt getting it.
Yeah. And I think they could be like Panama's Fry's Electronics, but their model works well enough for them, and I don't see them changing that anytime soon. So
just think how much money they could make.
Yeah, but some people don't want to make loads and loads of money like Jeff Bezos or something. But
I guess I'm one of those.
Well,
I'm certainly not a Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, you have all your hair.
Well, that's true. Now, when they bought out just getting back to Apple, when they made their announcements, I mean, they got new, say, AirPod-y things. What's the big difference?
Well, one of the differences is that these new AirPods have a new spatial audio mode. And spatial audio is interesting. I have it on my laptop, and it's I have a Dell laptop that has spatial audio. And basically what it does is it uses the computer's CPU to calculate what the sound should sound like if it was in front of you. And then in the case of my laptop, it uses the laptop's webcam to see where your face is pointed at. And if you turn your head around, you can feel the audio stay in place, because it increases or decreases the audio levels on your left and right ear, so that even if you turn around, you hear that the sound is coming from behind you. It's amazing what it does for the experience of audio. So if you're listening to a concert and you turn your head, you can feel like the concert is still going on in front of you, as opposed to just staying static. So it improves that and it makes it better. They have a new design as well. They don't have a rubber in-ear tip, which is good or bad depending on your particular taste. And it also has a magnetic charger using the MagSafe charger that's famously made by Apple. They also have a bit more powerful bass because they have new drivers. And the AirPods have now 6 hours of battery life, as opposed to around 4 or something for the previous generation.
And they recharge in the container, in the box.
Exactly. And they last a little longer. That being said, I mean, much less expensive earbuds from other manufacturers usually give you twice as much listening time. But, if you're into the whole Apple ecosystem or whatever, it just pairs and bonds really easy with everything else. So
I found headphones really, really difficult. I don't know if it's my ear fitting or what. I've had so many earphones over the time, even the Microsoft ones and all that. They're never comfortable in my ear. But I
love the over-ear Microsoft ones. They last for like 12 hours and they're really comfortable.
Yeah, no, they're good, but I don't like walking around with great big headsets on with them.
Oh, then you might want the OpenShocks AfterShocks OpenCom. These go over the ear and they use bone conduction, so they're not in your ear or over your ear. They're just right next to it, but they sound like, a whole soundscape, but you can still hear everything around you. I use these for work, and I can stand up, walk around and whatever. And if I were wearing them right now, you'd probably almost not even notice they're there.
Well, I mean, the ones I did settle for, and I've been using them now for probably about a year and a half, getting on for 2 years, the Sony MX-1000s. They fit perfectly. The sound is incredible. They've got, you can have the microphones on so you can hear around you.
Battery life's good on those too.
And the battery life is good, and you get about 3 or 4 extra charges from the and they're the only ones I've had that I can wear comfortably for long periods of time.
And if somebody just taps you on your shoulder and you turn your head around, they don't come flying out.
No, that's true. Now, listen, the other thing which I've been interested in, because I may change my phone, not immediately, but mine's I'm still using the Note 10. But the one that sort of got my attention is the new Pixel 6, which has got incredibly good write-ups.
Yes. At the beginning, there were a couple of reports about its specifications, including 8 gigs on the Pixel 6 and 12 gigs of RAM on the Pixel 6 Pro. The biggest screen size ever for a Google phone, 6.7 inches, and a little bit more on the Pro. Big batteries and everything. But the main thing that people haven't had much of a chance to try out, but so far the reviews, yes, the Tensor processor.
Yeah.
Just so people who are listening right now know, a tensor is a unit of computing that is designed to do the mathematical calculations required for artificial intelligence. And their new tensor named processor, named after the whole artificial intelligence processor, promises to be better at a whole bunch of things that phones have been struggling with for a while, without sacrificing either battery life or speed or anything like that. So it's going to be interesting to see how these processors fare in like daily tests or daily driver use by some of the early reviewers. Unfortunately, Google doesn't have a presence here in Panama, so I don't expect to get anything.
This is a good, because when I was looking this up, I saw Google and it said that the information, as soon as you went on there, it says we're not available in your country. And it wouldn't even give me the information. And why?
Because lawyers, I'm guessing. I'm sure that they have to go through the process's name in Spanish is homologación, which kind of means, to test for compliance. And any manufacturer who wants to officially sell a cell phone here in Panama, or any country for that matter, has to go through a process with the local regulators to make sure that they're not going to break anything. And you might think, how can a phone break anything? But you have to remember, for example, the first generation iPhone back in, I think, 2008, when it came out, a couple of hundred, maybe 1,000 people bought the thing back then and went to the Stanford University. And when they tried to log on to the Wi-Fi, they crashed the Wi-Fi because it hadn't gone through the proper testing as it should. It did go through all the regulators and whatever, and still it wasn't compatible enough with I think it was Cisco branded Wi-Fi at Stanford, and it crashed the Wi-Fi network for everybody else. So I think there's a lot to be said for, there's a lot to defend about manufacturers having to go through compliance testing and so on. But I think they kind of shoot themselves in the foot if they don't go to places like Panama, which we might not be like a really big country or whatever, but we're way more into technology than a lot of other places. So it would be nice of them to,
but if it's met compliance, especially in the US, then why can't they come here?
Because we have slightly different standards. For example, we use band.
Well, they can't be higher.
They're just different. So yeah, we do have more restrictive standards. As if you support whatever's in the US, you probably will be supported here in Panama. But we do have more in common with some European countries, for example, in regards to things like cell phone compatibility and TV compatibility. In fact, we use the DVB-T as opposed to ATSC standards for television. So yeah, there is some effort to be made compliance-wise. And speaking of compliance-wise, I'm under a non-disclosure agreement from a certain manufacturer, so I'd like to honor that. And I might be able to be testing one of their phones that's coming into Panama real soon. So I'll make sure to honor that NDA and let you know about that new phone coming out.
Really, that's honorable of you. Yes.
Yes, very, very. I'll probably give you at least 50 reasons to, look at this phone. So hey, I won't tell you which phone it is.
No, don't do it. Whatever you do, don't do that. Make sure you honor your.
Yes.
So if I can then just buy my Pixel 6 from Amazon.
Yes, you should be able to. Unfortunately, if you have any warranty, issues or anything like that, then you'll have to take it up with them directly, or maybe
Well,
send your
Amazon,
phone number.
I've never had a problem over many years with Amazon. Whenever I've had an issue, I bought a Huawei watch.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the first one I bought,
Mm-hmm.
and within 2 or 3 weeks, the crystal on your wrist just cracked.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently this was a problem with that, but Huawei apparently wouldn't honor these.
Mm-hmm.
And I got onto Amazon and I told them what happened. I can't remember. I think I might have sent them a picture. Bang. Hey, we're sending you a replacement immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Please send the other one back to us within the next 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
That is the type of service that you get from Amazon.
Even better, I bought some hard drives for my server here at home the other day from Amazon. And I don't know, something happened in shipping or whatever, and one of them came bad. So I went to the seller and I said, hey, one of these drives came bad or whatever. They said, we're sending one right away.
Yeah.
But recycling those hard drives is a bit expensive, and the shipping and everything else. So the environmentally responsible thing to do would be to please ask you to recycle it responsibly at your local recycling facility. So thank you for that. And just send us the serial number and we'll take care of it on our side.
Yeah.
I was flabbergasted. First time ever something like that, happened. So I'm not used to good service. So next time I bought another set of hard drives from them, I think it was 5 of them. I don't know, something else happened in shipping. One of them went bad. And they said, well, this is a more expensive one. So our insurance, whatever, does require us to have you send it back. So we're going to send you a replacement right away, but please send us back within 30 days the one you have. Fortunately, I have my service with Airbox Express, and they have this policy that if you have to return something, you file a document that has to go through customs, so you don't pay for the customs for that drive to come back again. So they kind of take it out of the system and then bring it back, so you don't have to pay extra customs fees. So I took it to them. They took care of everything. And within a week, I had my replacement hard drive in my hand working without a hitch. So my kudos to them. Great service as always.
I was just looking again at the Pixel 6. Amazon, it says just a couple of prices that they pushed up here. The 128 gigabyte 128 gigabyte 8 gigabyte RAM from Best Buy, $739.99, but the 256 gigabyte 8 gigabyte RAM from Amazon, $699.
Yeah, I've heard that you can get on Amazon, depending on availability, the 128 for $599 and the 256 for $699, sort of like that. I would probably go for the 256, though I could always, I guess, I haven't looked at to see if they have an SD card slot. I would probably pop in an extra SD card or whatever, even though I never fill a 128 gigabyte memory for whatever reason.
My Note 10 doesn't have a expanded slot, which I found rather surprising at the time. And that's, I think, 128 gigabytes, and I've never even got close to it. I mean, and I've got quite a bit of music on there as well. So, yeah, no, that is a serious consideration for me. I mean, there's a big price difference as well.
Yeah, and it's one of, they're kind of competing with us. The Pixel 6 is kind of competing with the mid-range pricing, but with high range features. And the Pixel 6 Pro is definitely competing with the higher range phones, such as the S20, S21, the Note, and so on, in both size and cameras. That being said, you have to take into account the Pixel 6. It's a lot cheaper, but it doesn't have a telephoto lens. So if you have to take a lot of pictures from far away, if you're that kind of a stalker person, then you probably will want to go with the 4. Another thing is we have to wait and see what the phone cases are going to be like for these phones, because the camera block occupies the entire width of the phone. Yeah, the top of the phone. So it's kind of like some of the early Android tablets from Sony that kind of slanted when you put them down. So it's going to be interesting to see what the cases are that they protect that part of the phone, because a lot of the times, especially with iPhones and other phones that have the corner of the phone, they kind of wobble if you put them on the table. And sometimes even with the case, the glass will touch the surface that you're putting it on. So you have to be careful with that. We'll have to wait and see what they look like.
And in answer to your question, memory card slot, no.
Oh, too bad.
And you get internal memory, 128 gigabyte, 8 RAM, or like we mentioned, 256. The camera, dual camera, the front facing, the main camera is 50 megapixels. And 12 megapixels that's on the wide angle. And it says ultra wide, 12 megapixels, and I guess that's the front camera. And dual LED flash. So the selfie camera is separate here. It says selfie camera, 8 megapixels.
Yep, a little punch hole in the corner.
And USB-C type C 3.1. NFC, yes, well, obviously, yeah. So it seems a fairly reverse wireless charging. Fast charge, 30 watts, 50% in 30 minutes. So yeah, I think it's a good option.
It's got one of the fastest wireless charges out there. I think the only one that beats it is the Xiaomi 11T Pro, which has a crazy 100 watt wired and I think 60 watts wireless or something charging speed, which is I don't know how they managed to do it without the phone catching fire, but yeah, it's pretty impressive. I mean, I for one have a wireless charger for the S20 FE phone that I have as a main driver, and it's a thing where I can charge the phone wirelessly without a problem, without the air conditioner running in the car, as long as I'm not doing anything else with it. But if I'm either listening to music on the Bluetooth or, playing back any content, or if I have Waze running or whatever, I do have to turn on the air conditioner. Otherwise, the phone, after about 5 minutes, it'll say, you know what, I'm going to start shutting down some apps because I'm overheating, or I'm going to stop charging altogether because it's getting too hot for me. But if I turn the air conditioner on, it's fine.
Yeah, what I do with my my phone in the car is I actually have a windscreen mount, but then it sort of extends out. So I actually have the phone sitting lower, right in front of the air vent. So the air vent is keeping it cool all the time.
Yeah, that's why I sometimes run the car without the air conditioner running, and so even though it's in front of the air vent, there's no air circulation there. So that's when it overheats.
That's basically because you're tight.
A little bit. A little bit. I mean, I sometimes enjoy a cool breeze when I'm driving or whatever, instead of the whole air conditioner thing.
No, I agree.
Until you drive behind a garbage truck or whatever.
Yes. I like driving with the window down, I must admit. And we're soon coming to that time of the year. I mean, in two months' time, we should be into our summer.
Yeah, our dry season, as they call it.
Well,
but yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, it's already sunny out there, and it's pretty nice weather, even though the weather vane says something about mostly sunny, but let's hope it stays that way for the rest of the day.
And we're at that time of the year. We got any more anticipated announcements as we go up to the holiday season?
Well, I could tell you, but then I wouldn't be honoring my NDA. Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure there's a couple more, but not that many, because the shopping season starts pretty much in a couple of weeks, if it hasn't already. I know that some places are already, it's not even Halloween and they're showing Christmas ornaments already. It's like, buy some stuff already, please. So yeah, maybe we'll be getting ready for Carnavales in December. Who knows?
Yeah. And will we have Carnavales next year, I wonder?
I'm sure we will in one way or another. But I don't know. Hopefully, a lot more people will be immunized by that time, and it'll be easier. But don't count me into any culecos right now. I'm going to be perfectly fine at home, just sitting at the balcony, maybe having a adult beverage of some kind, and just enjoying the scenery.
Well, I had my booster yesterday.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I am invincible.
I'm guessing you already kind of were before that, but I'm really glad for you. I hope to be able to get a booster myself, especially if I can get like, I mean, I got the AstraZeneca shot. It would be awesome to get like the Pfizer shot as a
Yeah,
booster.
they say that they say you get very, very good if you've had the AstraZeneca. The booster they will give you will be the Pfizer, and they say that they're together. It's very strong.
Yeah, because there's at least three kinds of immunity. But of course, that's not what they teach you in high school. You kind of have to look into that. But there's a couple of different ways your body fights disease. And the great thing about having more than one method of vaccination is that you kind of reinforce each and every step of that. So it makes it a lot better if you have the ability to do that. Unfortunately, I'm, this close to being in the age group to be able to get a booster right now, but hopefully as soon as that is a possibility, count me in, please.
No, I think it's great. And, I must admit, I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful to the government. I think they've been doing great. The only thing they didn't give me was my cape.
Well, not all heroes wear capes.
All right, Alex, look, thanks very much indeed. We got to the top of the hour, and thanks a lot for your insight. And all being well, we'll be getting back together next week.
If in person, if possible.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Why not?
Remember the biscuits.
I got them already. I got them in advance.
Awesome.
All right, Alex, take care, and a big thank you.
You too.
Dr. Computer, Alex Newman.
Escucha.